Hey, what's up, everybody? Here we go again. Episode 33 at Face Value. I'm Brian.
I'm Lucas.
And I'm Will.
And we're extremely excited to have you back again for another week. I'd love to say there's a whole lot going on, but doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on right now. So we'll just kind of get some updates on different things. And, I guess we can lead off. So went to San Marcos today, get a little college baseball because college baseball's in full swing now. So, lost 2 out of 3 to Illinois, which I think you said Illinois is usually a pretty good team, right, Lucas?
Yeah, they're middle of the pack of the Big Ten, which Big Ten baseball hasn't been the strongest recently. But, I mean, you had Michigan play for a national championship a few years ago. Nebraska's supposed to be solid this year. Indiana's supposed to be good. Illinois is pretty good up there, too. So, it's a Power 5, Power 4 conference. So, it's always good to have those on your schedule to boost your RPI or whatever. But
speaking of like RPI and stuff, like why don't you think that Texas State ever schedules like a weekend series with like A&M or Texas, anything like that? Like, I feel like if you're really trying to boost it, because I know like a couple years ago we were talking about, Georgia Southern ends up getting to host their regional because they got beat by 50 runs in a weekend series against Tennessee.
yeah.
So I just wonder why Texas State doesn't try to do more of those, because it doesn't seem that they do a lot of the big time series before the season.
No, I mean, they don't do the big time series, but they've been going to some of those big tournaments, right? So they played LSU and I think they played Texas as well last year in the Minute Maid Classic thing, and then I don't know if they're doing that this year, but they've gotten invites to those, so that boosts the RPI right off the bat. But
We're playing Texas A&M on Tuesday.
yeah, the midweeks, they always have the midweek games with them. I know when we were in school, they had a 3-game set against like a home and away, I think maybe, against Notre Dame. That one year. And then I know they played a 3-game set against Rice when they were good. I remember seeing Anthony Rendon play.
See, I didn't remember them playing 3 games. I remember going to like a midweek game against Rice, but I didn't remember if they ever played a weekend series.
I think they had a weekend series against Houston as well, U of H back then. But no, I wonder how much too of that is like if like those schools don't want to schedule Texas State. You know what I mean? Because like they're a pretty good mid-major, and like at the beginning of the season, like again LSU they scheduled Fort Wayne, like Purdue Fort Wayne, and then they just played against Omaha, A&M, Elon, and then Cal Poly, right? So some of the smaller schools. I don't know if it's just like a tune-up thing for some of these bigger schools that typically don't schedule the hardest schedules at the beginning of the season because they have an SEC slate that's going to boost up everything for them.
Yeah.
So they'll go play those tournaments to get some away games, but I really don't know. That would make the most sense to decrease travel and have some of those big time series, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I was just curious, because I know like especially with the long haul of a season, I mean, I don't think playing a weekend series would necessarily hurt you unless like you do lose 2 out of 3 and then you end up in the middle of the pack of the SEC or something, and then you go back and look at that as well. I mean, that's the only thing I can really think of. But
yeah, but middle of the pack SEC, that's probably going to get you into a regional somewhere.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And that's so. And if you're in the middle, if you're in the lower echelon of the SEC, like, do you really need to be in the field anyway?
It always just like, I know we always get excited about some of the series Texas State's in. Like, I know like last year. Was it last year or 2 years ago? Like they swept Ohio State, and we're like, oh, like that's a great series win, and then Ohio State ended up being terrible that year. And so I know obviously it's kind of one of those, I guess you call it like almost a lose-lose for like the big programs, where it's like if you win the series, like, well, you're expected to win it, but if you lose it, then it kind of hurts you. Whereas Texas State, it's like a win-win.
Yeah.
Obviously you win the series, it's great, but then if you lose, you at least get that RPI boost. So
yeah, I'm curious how much of that is in play with that. I really just don't know, because it would make sense. And Trout has like ties to UT. Like it's not like they're like. I mean, he used to coach there. So
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, it does seem like, speaking of Texas and Trout ties, seems like David Pierce is kind of, I know like they haven't been great so far, but it seems like some of the pitching's been a little bit better. I know like yesterday they got
Pierce
beat.
ain't there anymore.
He's not? I thought he came as he was a pitching coach.
Was he?
At Texas State, yeah.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he came in this year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's awesome.
they signed him back like at the end of the year or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think to work with the pitchers, and so I mean, I say they're doing better. I mean, they got run ruled yesterday, but I mean, it seems like for the most part the starting pitching still has a little ways to go, but it seems like their bullpen, and then like this weekend, you know, they kind of got strung out because instead of playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they'd play Saturday and then 2 today.
Yeah.
So so you could kind of tell that they were having to kind of change up their game plan and everything. But I also was wondering because, you know, they played Oklahoma State on Tuesday, which was like a big game. I mean, at the time it was. Oklahoma State's been struggling.
Ranked win still.
But I wonder if it's kind of, I think we talked about it. I don't know if we talked about it here, but I know we talked about outside is like throwing your weekend series guy in a midweek game. I wonder if they ended up doing that or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they won 4-2, so I don't know. But
was that in Stillwater?
no, it was in Globe Life.
Oh, that's right.
So like they played, I guess like they both played in that
Halfway or
tournament, and then they ended up just Oklahoma State was playing that tournament. So I wonder if they just stuck around, and then Texas State just traveled up there, and then they just played a game real quick and then came back. So, but how's LSU been doing? I ain't really been paying attention too much.
I mean, they're doing fine. They took 2 out of 3 against Omaha. Like they gave up a 5 spot in like the 8th inning in the second game. Like it was a freshman reliever who like walked 3 batters and hit 2, and it's unraveled on him. Like at this point of the season, like a lot of these big programs, they're just throwing kids out there to see what they got against some real competition, and like kind of getting to know your players, like finding out who you can rely on when it comes crunch time in the SEC. I'm sure the same thing happened to A&M. Like it's just one of those things where you're just throwing guys out there at this point. Lineups are still getting shuffled around. Like it's early season. They still did what they had to do. They took 2 out of 3. Starting pitching is still looking phenomenal. Like I think in total our starters have given up maybe 1 or 2 runs all season. It's their ERA is ridiculous, and I think they have like 80 Ks or something crazy, and in what 6 games because they didn't play a midweek because they got canceled or whatever.
Wow,
yeah,
that's pretty solid. What about the Aggies?
Took 2 out of 3 from Cal Poly. Had a 2 run lead in the 9th today, and gave up a single, gave up a bomb, and then walked a guy, stole a base. No, walked a guy, sack bunt, wild pitch, and then a sacrifice. So it was just one of those that, you know, they gave up 3 in the 9th. Pitching's been fine. Guy went 7 today. Little worried about contact right now. They're making contact, but we're not finding base hits. We're relying a lot on the long ball, you know, doubles, stuff like that. We're not, you know, like today we only had 4 hits. A couple of the games we only had 5 hits. Like getting a little bit nervous about that. You know, we're not facing SEC pitchers right now, so hopefully everybody's just starting the season in a little bit of a lull, but. We got to start making a little more contact if we're gonna hold this position atop the standings moving forward. But it's game 6. You know, if this is game 25 and we're still not hitting the ball, I'd be really, really concerned. Hopefully, it's just some early season struggles. But still took 2 or 3. So
the weather's still cold too. It hasn't warmed up. Once it warms up, the balls fly a little bit better and that kind of thing too. So that plays a part into it. When LSU lost 5-0, or they actually lost 5-4, they had like a 9th inning like rally where they scored 4 and just fell just short. But they were being no hit through 7 against them too. And like it was just one of those things where like the ball just wasn't finding a hole.
Yeah.
Like they were making contact. Like in the first inning, they had bases loaded, no outs, and couldn't get a run in.
Dang.
Like it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
It was all like walks and stuff, but
it's like that stuff happens now, okay. But if that becomes a pattern, like
like man,
well, this may not be good. But like I said, it's too early to get too concerned. But just a little bit of it is there though, so we'll see. But
and then I mean, sticking with the baseball thing, the Astros they started playing some spring training games. Whether that means anything at all, it doesn't.
No, 0.
I know.
0.
Well, it's kind of crazy. Of course, they face Soto and immediately launches was a 440-foot bomb or something like. So I mean, back in full swing. It's kind of crazy. I'm excited to see what the impact of the ABS and are they doing the challenges like in spring training too? Like, are they Is that going into the season, or are they just testing it all right now in
My
spring
understanding
training?
it's just a test.
Okay.
Which I know we love him, but I saw I think it was Pitching Ninja. He had a tweet about it. Martin Maldonado, he was catching. I think he plays for the Padres now. I think.
I want to say you're right. Yeah, I think
But
I did see that.
Yuli does.
Well, I think they signed him to like a minor league deal, maybe.
Yeah, but he was catching, and there was like a super low pitch, like it was like on the bottom of the strike zone, and they called it a ball, and he challenged it right away, and it literally got overturned by literally a seam. Like on the thing, it was the slightest.
So if it's like if any part of the baseball's in the zone's a strike,
anything, and it was literally like a seam.
That's
and
crazy.
They're like, oh wow, that's a pretty good eye. Like,
oh,
but, I mean, that should give him a contract right there, bring him up to the majors, man, so he can hit not even I was gonna say a $162, but it's like a .62.
Yeah,
.62 would be a career year.
Yeah,
at this point.
Yeah.
But like if you're bringing him up just to challenge 1 or 2 strikes a game, that's not gonna be a.
It's that leadership, dude. That's what it is. Like
it's not gonna be a good combination, But no, I think honestly, I think it would be a good thing because like sometimes those pitches can change an at bat, especially in a meaningful spot in the game. You know, like runners on and goes from a 1-2 to a 2-1 count. Like that's a big difference.
Dude, I'm just thinking like long term. Like, can you imagine like you're in the World Series? There's like it's like a big time at bat coming up, and like 1 and 2 pitch, bases loaded, like 1-run game, and dude, freaking overturning a challenge to like end the World Series or something. Like, dude, like that would be nuts just to imagine. Like,
yeah, but like the whole thing happened. Like, it's been around for a while now too with VAR in soccer, right? That was a huge turning point in soccer too, because like it takes the air out of a stadium too, because like you're sitting there waiting to see if a player is marginally offsides.
Yes,
you know, like it definitely does. And when you're in the stadium for the people there, like you don't know what's going on TV. You're watching replays, you're seeing everything, but the fan experience at the ballpark is probably going to be a little bit different too, unless they have something on the jumbotron showing exactly what's going on.
They did say that they were going to do that they were going to do like the Hawkeye vision, like tennis, like where you can see the screen.
I mean, it should be instant.
I mean, like
if you're watching on TV, you see the strike zone, the box on TV.
Yeah,
like that is almost instantaneous. There should just be a mic in the ump's ear and say, "Hey, we'll let them overturn. If they want to challenge it, they can. But if they do, that's a ball."
I saw one. It was one of the first. I think it was the first day somebody challenged one, and literally that's what it is. It's like the umpire stands up and then he goes, "All right, it's." I don't remember if it stood or overturned, but he like literally stood up, turned around, and he was like, "All right, it's a strike," and like then they just like moved on.
That's how it should be, not like go to a monitor.
Yeah.
Like,
so is the automated? Is the umpire still there, and then like he's just calling it, or like how does that work?
Like if they were to just use like the robot ump.
Well, they said like aren't like 60% of the games doing like the automated?
I have no idea.
In some of the lower,
But I thought in spring training they were doing like 60% of games or something.
Oh, I didn't see that. I just knew about the challenge, but
because like what I was saying, like I was telling Billy today, I was like, honestly, the way it should be is like you can leave the umpire back there, and literally like he's just the communicator. Like he's got an earpiece in, he's just standing there, and then it's like, and then ball, and so he's like, all right, and then go next one. Strike, and then like he's literally like he's not the one calling it, he's just standing there and like communicating pretty much. Like, I mean, either that or you just do like an automated announcement over the system. I don't know what you do.
No, you do exactly what you're saying. Like you have him back there. Like it's like in tennis. Like the judge, like they're there and they call out or in whenever they're doing it, and then if they see it on the screen, it just shows up and they say they overturn it real quick. Like I mean, I think he still needs to be there, obviously, for plays at the plate and things like that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I mean, I think he should definitely still be there, just doing exactly what you said. I think that worked fine.
I mean, I'm just glad that this is at least still a conversation. Like, it almost seemed like MLB was trying to kind of get away with it. Like, here, let's let the minors do it, and then like, but dude, I mean, especially with recent history, and I know you always look at the human error and everything, but it just seems like you gotta have that change. Like, I mean, I think it's kind of a long overdue thing where it's just like you got to be consistent.
Yeah, and again, umpires are very good at their jobs, though. Like if you look at this,
It's a very hard job.
it's a very hard
it
job.
is.
But like if you look at the scorecards, they're pretty consistent. Like they're in the 90%
For
most
sure.
of the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, for sure.
Like every once in a while, you'll have it below 90, but like they're pretty accurate. And I mean, the only argument people have it would be a pitcher, right? Like why would an offensive-minded like team argue that, right? Like you want to be able to know where the zone is, so you can have better at bats and be able to make more contact, score more runs, which is what the MLB wants. But again, I think we mentioned it on here before too. Like Greg Maddux, like he relied on that, like just kind of slowly working his way out.
Yeah, found where the umpire's zone was and
Yep.
then manipulated it. Yeah, like
And that's going to go away, which again, I'm honestly okay with that. Like if you have filthy stuff, like it's going to play.
I mean, like, but it's like anything else. Like what you're saying is like for the most part, the umpires do a good job,
Yeah.
but it's when it's bad that it stands out above everything else,
sure.
and so now you're just eliminating those bad calls and just staying consistent.
Yeah, and obviously, like throughout the course of a game, like whenever there's high leverage situations, and one of those bad calls happens on a high leverage situation where it changes an at bat, as I was saying, like changes a count from a hitter's count to a pitcher's count. Like you remember those things, but throughout the course of a game, they're very good at their job. Like
For sure.
every once in a while, they'll have a bad call here and there, but
yeah.
Did y'all see Terry Francona asked his vets to not challenge calls, but all like the minor league guys that are up for spring training, he's letting them do it because they're going to go back to the minors and they're going to have to be used to it. But he asked all the veteran players on the Reds
interesting.
to not use it. So that's still like the old school mindset of a
Yeah.
coach, like trying to buck the system of.
I didn't
we
even
don't-
know
we-
Terry
we don't-
Francona was still around. So.
He retired for health purposes from the
Yeah.
Indian or Guardians.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Don't want to get this podcast canceled for goodness sakes, but yeah.
Wahoo.
But yeah, he came back and he's coaching the Reds.
Is he the manager? Or
Yeah, he's the manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
When did that happen? I didn't even see
Kind of
that.
very quietly in the off season.
I didn't even know.
Dude, that's
It's
like,
like the Reds kind of underperformed, so they fired their coach, and like kind of out of the blue, they just hired Terry Francona.
dude, the Reds are one of those teams, like, they looked like they were right there, and then all of a sudden they were just like, oh, yeah, we're the Reds.
Bad.
And then they just went right back down. It's kind of like the Pirates have been, where it's in the Rockies, where it's like they show flashes of like, okay, we're starting to get something together, and then they just fall off completely. But
Well, they had Votto for years. Like that was like
Yeah.
they wasted his career.
absolutely.
That's literally all they had.
Yeah, and then now they have what Dela Cruz.
Dela Cruz, yeah.
He's electric, but I mean
His
they
numbers
have a-
aren't like great though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he's
hits
fun.
like 250.
But he's fun on the base.
Oh, he's
paths.
fast.
Yeah.
He's super fun.
I mean, I would not be surprised if he turns into like a trade piece this year or something. Like,
Unless they try, like, are they going to try to build around him? I don't
Yeah,
ever.
they got him. They got that pitcher. Is it Hunter Green?
Yeah,
Got like a rocket
Yeah,
arm,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's just like crazy wild. He hasn't got his command under control.
who's that? Didn't they have Hicks? Wasn't he there too? And then they traded him to the Yankees or something.
Talking about Aaron Hicks?
Yeah, wasn't he playing for the Reds?
I feel like he's been in New York for like 18 years.
I could be wrong, but
I just don't ever hear any moves ever happening with the Reds ever.
no. And
Like they're just there.
They are just there. Like when you talk about the NL Central, it's like everybody talks about the Cubs and the Brewers, and then like how bad the Pirates always are.
Yeah,
And then like
the Cardinals haven't been good in a while.
yeah, Cardinals
you
are
know,
up and down, and then all of a sudden like there's just the Reds are just there.
Yeah, they're, like whenever you do like trivia things and you go like if you're trying to name all the teams in like each division, like they're one of those forgettable teams. You're like, oh, I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't think of the last one, and that was them. Like I feel like they're always that.
Yeah.
Like very forgettable franchise.
Dude, speaking of the Cardinals, though, like, what do you think about the Astros, like, apparently re-upping their interest in Arenado? Like, that just seems mind-blowing to me. Like,
Me and Aaron talked about that yesterday, and I mean, he made a good point. Like if he did play third, like that wouldn't be the worst. Like that infield would be crazy defensively.
Yeah.
Like, if you have Christian Walker at first, you
Paredes at second.
Paredes at second,
Pena
at short, and Arenado at third. Like, defensively, that's a very, very solid defensive infield.
Yeah. What could Houston do though to make him waive that no trade clause? Because he already blocked it once.
But I heard there was some reasonings behind that wasn't just because he didn't want to go to Houston. I think there was something else behind that.
That's what I'm,
Yeah.
What would we have to throw in or guarantee? I guess.
I mean, my thing is like
We also don't have nothing to trade for.
I mean, it was
Unless
like-
you're
That's the thing.
wouldn't you probably almost have to include Paredes in that trade? Like, aren't they going to want somebody back that can play third, or do they just have somebody in their system?
I mean,
Because they've been shopping him like very, like open.
yeah.
So I'm guessing they would already have a
I
replacement.
would think they probably have a replacement already. But
Yeah.
again, what do we have to give? Like, do you want to empty out a already depleted farm system?
Yeah, no, we have.
The answer is no.
I think we have the worst farm system in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to turn 34 this season, too. So, I mean, it's like how many years are you getting? I mean, how many good years are you going to get out of him, too?
Well, you're basically getting him for his defense because his offensive productions. It has been coming down. I don't know.
The Crawford boxes
Yeah,
help.
I mean the Crawford boxes help any right-handed hitter.
But we said the same thing about Abreu. Well, I was like, oh,
He-
dude, he's
well-
going to launch rockets into the Crawford boxes, like, no doubt.
He just left his bat in Chicago.
I'll say he
He
how many
forgot
games
how
did
to
it
do
take him to hit his first home run? It was like halfway through the
Way
season
too
or
many.
something.
And I was like, oh, dude, this
ridiculous.
is going to be such a good signing.
I really
Crawford
wasn't.
boxes,
I wasn't mad about the signing. I wasn't thrilled about the money. Thought we kind of overpaid, but when we signed, I was like, this isn't a bad.
Oh,
dude to
dude,
pick
we
up,
were
'cause-
excited about the
especially
signing.
where Yuli was at the
Yeah,
year before.
But the thing with Abreu was his power numbers had come down, but he was still hitting like 300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, well, even if he's not hitting 25 bombs, we have enough power on this team at the time. If he can just go in there and hit 300, that's fine. We don't need 25 homers. If he gives us 15, 20, so be it. But we didn't get any of that.
No, we got nothing. And that was my worry. That's my worry about Arenado.
Yeah,
Just signing those old veterans.
That
is, like,
defensively, he's going to be great, but yeah, but offensively, he's just going to be in the tank. Like, yeah, because you don't want that auto out because that's what, too, is like, what are you going to do? Like,
I mean, I don't
you
know.
going to sign it, or are you going to trade for him and then put him in the 8-hole? Like,
But how much more of an auto out is he going to be than freaking Myers and McCormick?
oh, God.
Yeah.
Dude.
You know what I mean? Like
the
that's
back half. The back half of,
But that's
of the
what I'm saying, but
lineup,
now-
which
but now
used to be
you're-
so potent, it's gonna be lackluster.
Like, I would rather us go after an outfielder if there is even one available.
Well, and that's
anymore.
my
Like,
whole
there's
thing.
Nothing there.
Like, right now, the outfield is Altuve, Myers, and Chaz.
Like
Yeah.
the only thing that can happen is at the trade deadline, go get an outfielder.
Yeah, or
If we're in the race, you know.
in the off season, there's going to be a really good outfielder available. Have to sign him to a big contract. I don't know if y'all have heard of him. His name's Kyle Tucker. He's going to be a free agent. That'd be a great signing.
Dude, no
Yeah.
chance he comes back.
Yeah, no.
Could you imagine?
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, no.
That would be funny.
be very Astro. I mean,
Hey, the Yankees did that with Chapman a few
Chapman.
years ago. They
Yeah.
traded all those prospects, and then they just signed him right back.
yeah.
That's true.
I don't know. Yeah, dude, but yeah, the outfield is a massive question mark right now. Like, and then when Chaz is there saying it's gonna be interesting. The outfield's gonna look interesting this year. It's just like, oh,
Dude,
God.
is it? Like, what is it going to be? It's literally going to be Chaz, Myers, and Altuve.
And Jordan, whenever we play him a ridiculous amount of games out
And
there.
Dubon.
Yeah.
Dubon in center.
Dubon has been a good pickup. I mean, he's been a nice little piece. He can play everywhere.
I mean, he could play everywhere, but, I mean, his
Again, his
bat's
bat
not
is so
great.
inconsistent.
That's the whole team. Like our outfield defensively isn't bad, but nobody can hit.
Oh,
No.
dude, Myers and McCormick are great outfielders
Yeah.
defensively for sure. No doubt about that.
And now we're gonna throw a guy that's played second base his whole life and
Left
hope
field.
we get Craig Biggio.
Well, but dude,
But
but
he
that's
has a
what's
noodle arm.
crazy
Yeah.
too. Yeah, dude. So Altuve has no arm. I don't think Chaz really has that great of an arm. I mean,
Maybe the
like,
shortest guy to ever play outfield.
I mean, I don't see
One of them.
I mean,
Yeah. Gotta be,
probably
right?
since 1914 or something.
Yeah.
Like,
What position did Kirby Puckett play? Did he play outfield?
I thought he was a second base.
But that would make sense. Like I don't know where else. I'm trying to think of like all time short guys. Like who else would have been ever that short to play the outfield? Because like you got to have a little bit of humph in your arm.
Yeah.
Makes sense for the little guy to play second. So
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like Altuve is a
Kirby Puckett
prototypical.
was a center fielder.
No joke. I would argue that's probably the shortest guy to play outfield.
Hey, you ready for this? Eddie Gadel was 3'7". He did a one-time stint in 1951 with the St. Louis Browns,
That's unbeatable.
but never played the field. So
That had to be like a gimmick thing, right?
yeah, they
One of those,
just
like one
put it
day
out there.
signings.
Yeah,
Just like an adult, or was it some child they signed?
yes.
3'7".
The shortest one to actually play is Willie Keeler, who was 5'4". He's a Hall of Famer
What?
from 1892 to 1910.
What a run!
Hey, he hit 341.
No, Kirby
He
Puckett.
averaged 341
That was his lifetime batting average.
over an 18-year career.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, also
Yeah.
it was in the 1890s,
Yeah, like
so
people who would were dishwashers for their career were like they're like, all right, we got a game tonight. We need you to throw.
Throwing 65 up there, meatballs.
open tryouts
Yeah.
weekly. Like,
No, Kirby Puckett's 5'8", so Altuve's like 5'5".
Yeah,
yeah, according to this, he's 5'6",
Six,
but
yeah.
there ain't no way, dude. Like,
got some lifts in them shoes.
But yeah, it's gonna be probably a hard watch offensively this year.
I will say though, offensively,
the front of the lineup's deadly.
the front of the lineup, and then I mean, honestly, like I think the pitching staff is still solid. Like I was talking to a buddy of mine today, and I told him like I think the AL West is wide open. Like I think the Mariners, based on their pitching, they can win it. The Rangers have the top odds to win right now. So if they can get straightened back out, they'll be tough. And then obviously, I mean, you can't count the Astros out until you count them out, like until they're done. I mean, obviously, then you have the Angels and A's, who aren't going to win it.
I mean,
but,
the Angels spent some money though.
yeah, but Ron Washington pretty much last year was like, it's not all about winning games. It's about building, blah blah blah.
It's
like,
about having fun.
It's about snorting coke in the dugout or whatever he was doing.
They're not.
No, they're not going to be good,
They're not
but
gonna be good.
they have a potential to like at least be in the middle of the pack. They're not going to be as bad as the A's.
I mean, they'll middle of the pack, as in they'll get fourth.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't see them beating out any of the other three.
What's it gonna take to win the West this year? Like 86 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. Yeah, it was like 86. Yeah, like I don't think you have to win 90 games.
But how good are the Rangers going to be pitching staff wise? Like realistically.
DeGrom will pitch 2 games into season like he has every
yeah,
year.
I mean,
since
their pitching's
like
not
Is,
good. They lost Montgomery. They lost Scherzer.
Is do they have Jack Leiter?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they have
Kumar Rocker.
Rucker. Yeah.
So like we'll see what they do. I'm sure they'll.
So it'll
break
be
into-
young. Yeah, so it'll kind of be like a young, prove it kind of staff.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, but Seattle, like their pitching staff's good, but their
Really
offense
good.
is always bad.
Did I say
So
Al Leiter or Jack Leiter?
you said Jack.
Okay,
you did
good.
say Jack.
Okay, I didn't know if I said Al.
That'd be great, man. Let's get old Al Leiter out. Maybe get Chris Young. I know he's a GM, but just suit him back up. man.
Yeah, dude. Josh Hamilton's he around these days?
Haven't heard that name in a minute.
God,
Right.
what could have been?
Dude, the worst thing that dude did was
sure
go
what
sign
could've
with the
been.
Angels.
What's that?
Well, it's probably not the worst thing he's done. But
yeah. no.
Definitely was not the worst life choice he ever made. Hey, but he still got his money. I mean, it's a baseball contract. So.
yeah, he did.
Got his money. I wonder, somebody's bound to have done it. Like, how much money the Los Angeles Angels have paid players to not play for them?
Oh, dude,
Like,
so much.
that's got to
money.
be the
Up
team
there.
in MLB that's done it the most. For sure in recent memory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's rough,
Yeah.
dude. Like, and then on top of that, I mean, now you got like a manager like Ron Washington's like way past his time. Like, it's just they don't seem to have any direction right now.
Was that just, again, them knowing that the next few years are probably not going to be very good? So let's hire a guy that like people kind of like.
Well, that's what I guess
For
it
like
is.
2-3 years.
And that's
So,
what
like-
and that's what I think. Like when he says that, like it's not all about wins. Like it's like he's just trying to get a positive culture around
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, because like they weren't going to get some younger guy who's trying to get build something up because they knew that job was going to be bad.
Yeah.
The Dusty Baker.
Yeah, Dusty Baker at least won a World Series. Like,
Well, yeah.
but like that was like the purpose of the Dusty Baker was
Yeah.
like to bridge the gap, and then but of course his team was a little different. Like,
His
Yeah,
team's
loaded-
good.
loaded.
Yeah,
like-
loaded team. Baseball's the weirdest sport where like guys just come out of nowhere. Like guys get the job, and it's like, how did they get a manager job, like the Aaron Boone, like just pull out the broadcast booth, or David Ross. It's like, yeah, they play baseball, but like in other sports, I feel like you have to work your butt off from the ground up as an assistant or a graduate assistant out of college and go through the ranks. And baseball's just like, oh, you had a 15-year career, you know about baseball.
Brad Ausmus.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that kind of stuff.
I feel like though, like in baseball though, like a lot of those teams, like they played for those teams. So like Brad Ausmus, for example, like he was a well-known like leadership guy in the clubhouse and could call a crazy good game behind the plate. So I guess they see that as their career develops. That would be my only thing. Like you could just tell that they're gonna like they have that in them to be a manager. Like they can lead an organization like that.
Yeah, I just always find it funny how that happens.
Because soccer's similar. Soccer's very similar in that case where there's some players that go on and like you're like, okay, like Arsenal's head coach was a former Arsenal player, like, and he studied under Pep Guardiola, right? So, or he like was an assistant there for a few years, and then he got the Arsenal job, and he's pretty much turned that club around. Like the whole culture and everything's completely changed, and we're competing for things now. But yeah, I think it's very similar to that, where I guess they just see that, but. In football, yeah, you're the water boy.
Yeah, it's really
you're
you
grad
start
assistant.
at like 20 years old once you get cut from the team or whatever, and you just become an assistant.
Yeah,
and
you're a grad assistant,
and like you're grinding for the next. It used to be like until you're in your 40s before you really get a chance. Now they're getting them pretty young, but still, if you're a grad assistant at 22, like you're grinding for a good 5 to 10 years before you even get a shot at a coordinator job.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're
once you get a coordinator, you can rise very quickly. But
you're an analyst for 10 years.
Yeah,
you're on the sidelines.
You're doing the dirty work for a while.
Absolutely, and in some small community college stuff.
Yeah,
and then you build your way up. Yeah,
correct.
Absolutely. But in baseball, breaking news this week too. I think it's way past time. The Yankees are allowing beards.
Yes,
which is like, dude, that was
like for me,
just so I don't have to see Garrett Cole's baby face anymore.
Yeah,
like
dude.
that is like that first picture that he had coming out. I'm like, dude,
yes, dude,
come on, man.
Well, and not even that. Like, just to me, like this whole like making grown men have to shave their face. If you want to play here, you have to be clean shaven. Like, dude, that's like the classic, like old school, like
they could have mustaches. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what was the straw that broke the camel's back? Because, like, is it Devin Williams? Is that his name?
Yeah.
The closer?
Yeah.
I know he was very, like, outspoken about it, but like, he still shaved it already. Like, and they've had, I mean, obviously the Yankees, they've had a lot of prominent players play for them, a lot bigger than that. So, like, why this year, why now was Steinbrenner finally like, okay, it wasn't like Aaron, unless we don't know about it, but it's not like Aaron Judge walked in there and was like, I'm not playing another inning.
Or no, like,
you know,
what if the deal breaker for Soto was that? To go to the Mets or the Yankees? Because the Yankees offered very similar, if not the exact same contract.
Well, then if that was the deal, then he would have changed that then. Like,
True.
you're not doing it now.
True.
Like, I guess it's just such weird timing. Like,
yeah.
And like, why there had to be some sort of internal discussion, but also find it funny how like you're doing it now. Like, guys are reporting to spring training, they've already all shaved their beards. And it's like, oh, by the way, you can grow that back.
Yeah.
now.
Hey, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just the timing of it is just bonkers. But yeah, long overdue. I mean, it's kind of one of those things in baseball, though. Everybody, you kind of don't want it to go away because you can always hate on the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like, this is stupid. Like, they should get rid of this. So it's always something to like kind of talk about. But yeah, I mean, it was dumb.
Okay, who was the other guy? Was it Don Mattingly? He was wasn't he with the Mariners for a while?
Yeah.
And but that was like his like personal thing. Like he would tell his players like shave your face. But wasn't he with the Yankees for a while? Like
Mattingly played for the Yankees.
I think he took it. So I think he took it with him. Was like just the whole clean shaven. But
because what's like, there's really not like nothing really else in sports like that other than like what the A's, they have to wear what gray, is it gray, white cleats? Is that like the?
I never heard that.
I'm pretty sure the A's, they have like a uniform thing, or they did for a while.
How on earth are you going to be the Oakland A's and make those guys do anything? Making them go play is bad enough. Like that's insane. Like, you're a terrible franchise. Like, you don't need to do anything else to deter players from wanting to come
Please just come be here.
Yeah. Like, we'll let you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like,
That's funny, dude. I've never heard of that. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a tradition with the A's. Like they wear white cleats. I mean, it looks like they've changed it a little bit, but like there's an article right here. A's Jed Lowry gets warning for non-standard cleats color because he wore like some black cleats.
Jed Lowry.
Yeah,
maybe this was more around like, what was it, the 70s or 80s when they were good? Maybe it's from back then.
I guess.
Because in my lifetime, they've never sniffed anything. Well, I guess that's a lie. Weren't they? They have a couple years. In
Moneyball, dude.
Yeah.
Where they went to the ALDS a couple times and failed.
No, but yeah, and those years at the Stros were pretty bad, didn't they? Didn't they win the West a couple times?
They won the West the COVID year.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it hasn't been that. It just feels like they've always been the worst team in Major League Baseball, but.
I mean, typically you are. I mean,
Yeah.
Don't worry. Going to Vegas is going to fix that.
they did win the West of the COVID year, right? And
They
we knocked
did.
them out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a 60-game season.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because then they played in the ALDS and
Yeah.
the Astros swept them. So, yeah, then that's when they lost to the Rays, right? Yeah, the Rays went to the World Series that year.
Yeah, we were down 3-0, came back to force Game 7, and then.
The Rays are always that weird team. Like, we always talk about the teams are always bad. Like, the Rays, like, always seem to find a way to be good. Like, even though it seems like they're not really spending money. Like,
Yeah, they're probably the best small market, I
yeah.
guess, or at least in the last decade for sure.
agreed.
Or
Absolutely.
maybe a little longer because they had a couple World Series runs in the late 2000s, early 2010s. But
Yeah. I don't know.
Would you consider Toronto like a small market? I mean, they've had a pretty few good years too. Like, obviously they blow it, but I feel
yeah,
like,
I mean,
they didn't make like a World Series or anything.
yeah, yeah. I guess more, just the AL. I mean, the AL East is besides Baltimore, which who is now good, but
Yeah.
like all those teams in a division with two of the most historical franchises in Major League Baseball, like. Those other teams that no one talks about have actually probably owned that division a little more than the two that you would think
Yeah.
would.
The Brewers had a few good years too, with Yelich winning the MVP.
Yeah, I mean the Brewers were still good. I mean,
Yeah,
and they've even been able to get rid of guys and still remain relevant.
Devin
I mean,
Williams.
and they got rid of they let Hader walk. They
Yeah.
they traded away or they got rid of Burns. Like they seem to get rid of their quote unquote stars, and then they're right back there winning the Central every year.
Yeah.
So pretty impressive. I mean, they lost their coach.
yeah.
Council jumped ship and went to Chicago. So
That's right. I forgot
that
about
was,
that.
that
Yeah.
was a shock whenever that
Yeah.
happened. It was like, because getting rid of Ross, it was like, why would they get rid of Dave? I mean, he wasn't like he was doing anything overly great, but he also wasn't doing a terrible job.
Yeah.
So that had to have already been in the works, which was odd to see. Because it's like, again, not like Milwaukee wasn't a bad team, but they had to be like Council must have wanted something or wanted them to spend more money or maybe not trade away his best players.
Well, I was gonna say, it may just be a frustration for him. It's like, you know, we're like, even though it may seem like good timing to stay competitive.
Yeah.
Because remember, I think it was Hader, because they traded Hader, right?
Padres?
Yeah.
Yes, they traded him. I remember like the Brewers like went insane, and he was like, "Well, we're looking at longevity," and like the Brewers fans are like, "Well, we want to win now."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be competitive over time, but it's like when you have one of the best closers in the league.
See, I think the worst spot to be in sports is just your team being good.
Mediocre.
Yeah,
in the
like
middle.
like you're never the worst team in your division, but you're never like making a deep playoff run. Like you're just you're gonna be I'm thinking more like basketball, but you're always gonna be a 5 seed, but you're never gonna make it anywhere.
I mean, dude, that was the Astros for the majority of my life.
Yeah, it was, and it's
They were in the middle. They made that one World Series run, but they were always just like there.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like now being on the backside of this, yeah, those 8 years or 9 years really stunk. But
worth
man, this 7-year run has been
Oh,
awesome. So or
absolutely.
8-year run's been awesome. So it's like, okay, I would rather take that than them always just sneak into the playoffs every 2-3 years and get knocked out in the divisional round.
Yeah,
100%.
you either want to be on top or you want to be on bottom because you know like you're going to be back at the top.
Yes. But the key to all that is having a GM that knows what they're doing.
100%.
Because there are plenty of teams that tank, and they tank and tank, and they just can't ever get good.
They're just perpetually bad.
The A's.
Yeah, because obviously like your draft picks matter. Like not every draft pick is going to hit, but like if you have,
but you miss every time.
Yeah, if you have a 70% hit rate or something like we kind of did during that run, like with Lunau.
Yeah,
like it was great, and that's what the Orioles did. I think they have, what is his name, Sig Maydal, or he was with Lunau.
He was at the Astros organization.
And he's the one running the show.
Yeah. And they've hit a lot of good picks.
Oh, dude, yeah, and they're going to be competing for the AL for the next 5 years.
Yeah, as long as they can pay all these kids, when
the time comes, and that's what happened to us too, and we had to get rid of a lot of those guys.
Yeah, but it's like you got 7-8 years or you got a little less with George, but for the majority of it, you had that core was there. So,
yeah. But it just sucks now, like in the NL, like if you're an NL team, like you're like, oh damn, well. Have the buzzsaw in LA that we got to run through.
I think if you're anybody right now.
I mean, for sure, but at least like making a World Series like in the AL is a little more doable than in the NL.
Yeah, for sure.
And, like at least getting there, like having a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the American League definitely feels way more wide open.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good up and coming teams. Of course, you still have your mainstay holdovers, but like you could give me a list of 8 teams right now that you say can make the World Series in the AL, and I would probably say, any of those teams can make it.
In the NL, what you got? Like obviously the Dodgers, maybe Atlanta.
Yeah.
If right now you're like, are you taking the Dodgers or the field? I'm taking the Dodgers
for sure
in the NL. Like that's hands down.
But like, who's competing with them in the NL? Like,
I mean, because like right now,
maybe the Mets.
You would say but like the Mets didn't do anything but sign one guy.
Yeah, but
he's good, and he's a good guy.
Well, but then they had a good team last year.
Yeah, I mean, their lineup's pretty good overall. Their pitching staff's pretty decent. Like
it's about the consistency because they've gone.
The Phillies,
they're so hot.
Phillies, yeah,
Phillies would be one.
The NL East is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, the NL Central, like no team is competing.
No, NL Central is probably the worst division.
It's kind of like the AL West. Like someone's got to win it, but like you're probably not picking a team from that division to make it to
make any kind of run.
Yeah,
no.
And then nobody in the NL West is competing with the Dodgers. The Padres, the
Padres are almost selling off now.
Yeah, at this point.
And then San Francisco. I mean, like their big signing was Justin Verlander.
Yeah,
I mean,
not going to cut it.
No.
I mean, a lot of people are high on the Diamondbacks, but. I mean, I just don't see it.
Well, I mean, the fact that, like, they go to the World Series, kind of hit that hot streak, and then last year, like, they didn't make the playoffs last year, right? Like,
no, I mean, you're in that division, you're not going to. The Padres are still good.
Yeah.
Seriously, I thought the Padres should have beat the Dodgers last year.
Yeah.
They should have.
That team was better at that moment. I was very shocked that they didn't.
I thought they were.
Yeah. I would have picked them to win the series. So
now you got no shot.
Because they're throwing, Yu Darvish still.
Yeah, they're throwing old Yu Darvish. I didn't realize like 39.
He did well last year, though.
Yeah.
He had a good year.
Yeah.
Who's the guy? He's former Astros.
Musgrove.
Musgrove.
He was hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had Tommy John, but no, he had surgery.
I'll say, he didn't even pitch in the playoffs, so... Yeah, I don't know. I do agree with you. I think the AL is wide open, and then I think the NL is pretty
three teams
open and shut. Yeah, I mean,
would say 3 teams,
and then one team, obviously.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's baseball.
Injuries are going to happen. So
injuries are going to happen, but with that depth on that roster,
when the Dodgers have 11 starting pitchers ready to go, I mean, like it's kind of crazy. So
yeah,
and a good farm system. Not like terribly, because like they're not having to trade them for these guys. They're just writing checks.
Yeah.
So they're able to keep the farm system going.
For sure. It's wild.
Goal for Utah Hockey Club.
Dude,
Speaking of hockey,
yeah,
you want to get into it real quick?
Yeah.
Did y'all watch the game? Did y'all watch the final?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was intense, man.
For a sport that I really don't care a whole lot about or don't watch a lot, that was the most defeating loss. Like in the moment when the game ended, like I felt like I like it was when like watching the Astros lose Game 7 of the Nationals. You know, like it felt like the same thing. I've literally been a hockey fan for 5 days. And like that was like the most devastating, defeating feeling whenever he hit that daggum shot. So
and not just the shot, but the keeper before like
Yes.
those 3 saves, man. Like the U.S. had it won, and
for the goalie that got ragged on the whole week, he played a great game.
yeah, and that's what everybody says about him. They were saying like he has stinkers, but then whenever he like there are games where he just goes off, and that was this game when it mattered.
No, it was a from what I've been told. I mean, it was fun for me to watch, but apparently it was just actually a really good hockey game.
Oh, it was intense, dude, the whole time, and
I mean,
we'll run it back.
Lived up to the hype.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
We said it before. Also, they nailed it with this Four Nations thing.
Like the freaking like just the pregame stuff, dude. It was like
dude.
electric, dude.
Yes.
Like being in there, that would have been dude. But yeah, we run it back next year, man. They got to.
I don't know how that's gonna work. Like, because next year's in a Olympic year.
Oh,
So you got the Winter Olympics. So like, are they gonna be able to run this back next time? And then like, do you throw in new countries or like? I'm not too sure they actually had a plan because it kind of felt like they came up with this like on a whim.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just kind of happened.
It's been in the works for at least a year because they had the rosters.
Set
for
but they've been talking about it, but like, I haven't read or seen anything about like the plan moving forward. So maybe it was just one of those, let's see what happens, and we'll go. But like,
I mean, after
have to now.
Yeah, after the response and the viewership and the like the response on social media, dude. Like it was like
I mean, what was
viral,
it?
man.
It was like what the most watched game on ESPN ever or something.
Most watched hockey game in history.
Yeah, like you got to run it back.
Selfish as hell of Canada. Like, for the sport of hockey, they should have just lost. Because Canadians are already hockey fans. Like, you had a chance to gain the entire United States as hockey fans for your sport.
Well, dude, and
that's
what kind of cracks me up is, like, I feel like a lot of this stuff is, like what I was telling somebody the other day, I made it to my wife, but I was like, I think the most fun part about this stuff, like when we beat big teams in soccer, or like we beat Canada in hockey, it's like this is like our third, fourth, fifth sport, and we're just beating other people just because we can. Like it's like their sport, and then we just run in there and we're like, hey, we're gonna take this from you now. It's almost like the best part of it. It's just like, hey, like we don't care that much, but we care enough that we just want to beat you. Like,
I mean, it's true.
It also helped, like, if football's going on, this doesn't get the response it got.
No.
Like, it helped in the time of year because, like, everybody was kind of looking for something to cheer for because, like, you're kind of down. Football's gone for a while.
Right.
Dude, you're in the middle of all the basketball stuff. Baseball's not even started really yet, so.
XFL starting up soon, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, USFL.
We've been talking about going to a Roughnecks game for a couple years. We haven't made one yet, but.
I don't watch it.
I really don't either, but like it's football in the springtime, so something cool to go watch. And the rules are real different, so like sometimes it's fun to watch sports. Like you don't have to get all worked up about it. Like
For
you know,
sure.
you're not dialed.
Just enjoy it. Exactly.
Yeah, you're not dialed completely in because it's your team. So
most of the time when I'm watching sports, I'm dialed in.
yeah, I am.
I'm watching the team.
I am.
Yeah.
Like
there's not a lot of games that I will watch like that don't have a rooting interest.
yeah, like just casually trying to watch it, especially on TV. Like it's fine if it's in person. Like you can do, but
yeah.
Speaking of your rooting interest, dude, you want to talk about the Premier League a little bit?
Yeah. So it's coming down to the wire now. I think there's 12 or so games left. So actually, there might be more than that. No, it's about 12. Liverpool leading the charge.
Yeah, they pretty much like a lock.
Yeah, now they're a lock. They beat Manchester City today. And Arsenal were kind of closing the gap a little bit on them. And then Arsenal lost to West Ham.
Just gashed for the injuries, dude.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the biggest thing is like the injury bug this year. I mean, we're literally starting a midfielder at striker because we literally don't have one.
It's crazy.
And so, yeah, just injuries and then just a bunch of red cards at bad times and not playing well at the right time. Like it just wasn't meant to be this year. But Arsenal still are in the Champions League, which is like the big tournament in Europe. They got drawn to PSV Eindhoven for the round of 16, but they drew for the next round as well. So the winner of Arsenal PSV play the winner of Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. So most likely we'll play Real Madrid in the quarterfinal. But
it'd be a tough one.
Yeah, it's very tough. Mbappe's playing out of his mind right now.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
He finally woke up, though.
No, he woke up.
He woke
Yeah,
up.
he's doing unbelievable.
Just had to
right now,
settle into his new home.
I guess. So that's still going on. That's literally the only thing Arsenal are pretty much playing for now. I mean, the league is still technically cracked open. I think Liverpool have a 7-game lead or so, or 7-point lead right now. Might be more than that, but the league's pretty much done.
Yeah. It would take a lot for them to blow.
Yeah,
that.
they would have to blow a lot of games, and Arsenal would have to start winning a little bit more. But again, we're getting Saka back in the next few weeks, which is going to help. But
Is
again,
Havertz back?
Nah, Havertz is out for the season.
Oh, that's right.
So
yeah.
he was our starting
That's crazy.
striker, who is technically a midfielder anyway.
Jeez.
And that's the whole thing. So Stan Kroenke, who's the owner of Arsenal, like he just has. I think the ref's down. The ref's down.
The ref
ref's
just-
down. I wish.
Is he trying to blow his whistle?
They're gonna blow his
like they don't know you're down?
Dude, that's not good.
Wow.
But no. In soccer, they have a January transfer window where they can buy and sell players in that window to strengthen up for the rest of the season. And
Okay.
Arsenal literally didn't sign a single person. Like,
Why?
I'm still asking myself that question. Well, typically in the January transfer window, like prices are super inflated for players because they know that teams have needs, right? And so they Oh no! A ref just got racked by a puck.
Bad.
Oh,
dude.
dude, that's brutal.
Full speed.
Did those guys wear cups?
I would hope so.
I would hope so, but
It doesn't matter.
yeah,
dude.
like that doesn't matter.
Yeah, wait,
Like-
I wonder if there was a hot mic on that, like the other guy.
Oh, that'd be the second
he got
cleanest.
smoked,
Oh,
man.
dude, but
Good for him to get up that fast.
Oh, he's still gonna finish it out. Dude.
Yeah, that's good for
Built
him.
different,
That
dude.
was
Hockey guy.
Golly.
yeah, big hockey guy. Man,
Just a freaking lacerated testicle. But no, yeah, just they didn't sign anybody because every player that they were going after, like they would just keep raising the price. So I guess Arsenal were like, well, you know what, screw it, we'll just keep with what we have, and then we'll address it in the summer transfer window. Which, I mean, they're gonna have to do something. They have to sign a striker because that's where we're struggling bad at the front. Our back line, the defense is solid. Like we're
Yeah.
good. Midfield, good.
The wings pretty good.
I mean, wings are okay, but Martinelli's hurt. Saka's hurt.
Yeah.
Like we literally started a Nwaneri, who's a 18-year-old at right wing. Miles Lewis Skelly, who's a 17-year-old, is playing. Like, yeah, it's just one of those things. But no, Liverpool pretty much running away with it. Manchester City lost, I think it was 2-0 to Liverpool today. So
dang.
they're 20 points out from first right
Well,
now.
I was gonna say like they really fell off this year. Like they went on that bad losing streak. I know at one point.
I mean they're still in fourth, so they're still in a Champions League position.
Yeah.
They got knocked out of the Champions League as well.
Oh wow.
They got knocked out by Real Madrid, and so yeah, it's still the race for fourth is still wide open. Arsenal probably will finish second. Again, yeah, for the third straight year.
God, dude.
And last year it went to the final day. Just Manchester.
Yeah, I
City
remember
was-
that, yeah.
man, so close last year.
What was it? It was that lost to it was at Brentford last year that like kind
Yeah.
of like killed their chances.
Just at bad times for them. But
Yeah.
I think they'll break through eventually. But yeah, that's enough soccer talk.
Yeah.
Will has no idea what's going on right now.
I don't. I'm enjoying the last minute of this hockey game because I don't know a single thing about soccer.
That's how I feel about the NBA.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's coming down to the wire again. Champions League is going to be fun for me at least. The league, I'm still going to watch the games. Even when Arsenal sucked, I would still wake up at 6 a.m. and watch them lose.
Yeah.
and I'd be like, why the hell did I wake up at 6 a.m. for this? But I still did it every week, and I still do. I still watch every game. So
gotta stay committed.
That's right, dude.
Still a work in progress on that, trying to be invested.
No, I mean it's fine. You'll figure it out, man.
It's cool. We get there eventually.
Next year's World Cup. So you got to get into the World Cup.
Isn't it? Is it here?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, it is,
dude. It's gonna be electric, man.
I was reading something about that. So we are not prepared at all for the amount of people coming for the World Cup and then the Olympics in 28. Like it was it was transportation, I think. Or, I can't remember. It was transportation. How did it go? Anyway. Like we don't, like nothing's prepared. Like airports aren't prepared for everything coming in, hotels, like renting car. We don't have anything set up.
I mean,
and I was a little shocked. I'm like, how do these other countries that have nothing of the resources that we do?
If we're not prepared, like I would love to see what other countries are doing to be prepared.
We'll be fine. We have time, but I just read the report. I was like, it was kind of weird. Like, how are you going to say we're not prepared for this?
No.
When I'm just thinking the areas too, like New York, Los Angeles, Houston, Arlington. Like it's good. Like those are prime areas. Like you're gonna be fine.
I don't know if it's because there's already so much traffic and like people already going there or already there all the time. If you bring that many more, like it's gonna slow things down, maybe. But
I mean, there are weekends at like in Austin, for example. Like I think one year it was like. The same time it was ACL and Formula One, and like they had a UT football game and Austin FC playing a match. Like it was.
And Georgia was in town.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go within 500 miles of Austin if that was the case.
I mean, that happened this past year.
Yeah, that was October.
And I mean, they were. And the Formula One is an international thing.
Massive following.
That, dude.
Massive following.
And so they were able to hold that down. And Austin is one of those cities that's like super congested to begin with because it's not built for a lot of people, and there's just a lot of people that live there. So, there's no way we're not prepared.
It might have just been like an article overreacting or somebody's opinion without much facts behind it.
Yeah,
I don't know where it caught my eye, but that sounds like an interesting argument that I wouldn't have thought would have been the case.
Yeah, because Qatar.
That's what I'm saying. Like we don't have, like Rio de Janeiro had one. Like,
we'll be fine.
I mean, Russia.
These other countries are literally putting together stadiums for the tournament alone.
To turn into like desert places.
Yeah, we're literally we're fine.
Like legitimately, I make this argument all the time. Like the state of Texas could hold the World Cup.
Yes, absolutely.
100%. Like you could play Kyle Field, you could play DKR, you could play Jerry World, you could play Reliant or whatever it's called now.
Dude, you could play in some of these bigger high school stadiums.
Oh yeah,
Allen.
Yeah,
Allen High School.
I mean, dude, you could play at Bobcat Field. That holds like 33,000.
Yeah,
and some of those soccer stadiums in the UK, they hold literally like 20K.
Yeah.
You know, like it could happen if they in the state of Texas and a lot of those other cities. Like,
could you imagine, dude? That'd be so cool.
Oh, dude, that'd be amazing. But yeah, high school stadiums, all that. I mean, I don't know how much.
Bringing a ton of revenue for the state.
How much does Baylor Stadium hold in Waco? At least 50.
Yeah, I think it's like between 50 and 60,000.
I just read this because
it's not a lot. I think it's about 50,000.
Yeah,
Agweed's having a concert there.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't remember the number now though,
but easily they could easily do it. And you have the Alamo Dome.
You got places all over the place.
Sure.
I mean,
it could happen, but it'll be fine. And then the Winter Olympics, right? I'm talking
about the summer. Yeah, summer in 2028.
Yeah, I think Salt Lake.
I think we're a little more concerned about that one because people there's so many people for so long.
Yeah,
in a already very overly populated, congested area.
Yeah,
but we got 3 more years to figure it out. So
yeah,
I'm not saying I'm going to trust California to get it figured out, but we have 3 years to them.
Maybe that's the biggest problem is California.
That's why they chose that one.
But the World Cup will be a good test run for that then.
Yeah,
you know. Because the U.S. is playing 2 games in L.A. and then they have one in Seattle for the.
That's like what we talked about too. Like we got a good practice run with the Copa with the
yeah.
Argentina and Colombia fans climbing through AC vents trying to get into the stadium.
I was gonna say, didn't Hard Rock get like trashed?
Yes,
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
Like they didn't. People that didn't have tickets were like breaking into the stadium. Like it was wild, dude.
That's
Just to see Messi.
Yes.
Americans don't understand soccer, like the passion behind it, because it's not big over here.
No.
like in some of those countries, that's all they have.
Dude, imagine.
So it's the biggest thing.
Yeah, imagine like Philly fans times 10.
Oh gosh.
You know what I mean?
And
Like-
then it's not even your own city, so who cares? If we burn it down, like I'm leaving.
Yeah,
like-
yeah, for real.
Like in overseas, like in like European matches, like if you're a supporter of the away team, like you have your own section. Like you can't sit in the regular seating of the home team. Like they
I
have,
think I saw what you were talking about the other day, where you were talking about Arsenal and Liverpool, how they have like the security that like
Yeah.
divides the
legitimately
fans. Like I actually saw that the other day when they were playing.
a
I was
line
like,
of
oh,
security
wow.
that
Like,
separates them in the away section. And then like over there, you can't have like food or drinks in your seats because they'll
They'll throw them.
So you have
Yeah.
to finish everything in the concourse. Like that's how it is there because it's so like rowdy and
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But yeah, the World Cup, and it's gonna be nice for this one. Like we can actually watch the games in the evenings instead of them being at like
Right.
8
3
a.m.
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, 8 a.m. What is it? 10 a.m. and then a 12 p.m. game or 2 p.m.
Yes,
game.
yeah.
Like that's It'll be nice to be at a time that we can actually sit down and grill and watch them, and
And it'll be back
together.
during the summertime. It won't be in November.
yeah, which is also very nice. But
Freaking
it should be fun.
Qatar.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be screwed up again when it's going to Saudi Arabia in 2034.
Well, 2030, man, I want to go. It's going to be in Spain and Morocco and
yeah,
Portugal.
that one's gonna be fun.
Dude, that would be a cool trip.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. Start saving up now.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be really cool.
I just hope they don't freaking gouge tickets next year, dude. Because I would like to go to at least one game.
I already have my you just have to sign up on FIFA's website and it's a lottery system, so they'll draw
Really?
and you can get tickets and you can request like where you want to go. Like I'm gonna request in Houston, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's probably gonna be just some random teams. Hopefully, it's a good one.
Well, that's what. Yeah, because I'm assuming that like the United States is gonna play in like
They
New
already announced where they're
York.
playing.
And, oh, they did.
Yeah, so their group stages. So they're playing their first game in LA, second game in Seattle, third game in LA.
Of course.
They're staying on the
Makes
West
sense.
Coast.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
Lame.
Yeah, they're. I guess they're trying to reduce as much travel time as possible. And
Did they
then,
decide on the championship where it's at?
I think it's in New York.
Okay, I knew it was between New York and Arlington, so
I think
would,
New York got it. And then,
I figured they would
but that's not to say the U.S. doesn't play in Arlington or Houston and
for like the knockout
yep,
stage.
and
you
then if
know.
they make the knockouts,
Yeah.
that could definitely happen. So it
That'd
should be fun.
cool. Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to brush up on your soccer, man.
And I got
Start learning
dude,
now.
it's-
dude.
I better start tomorrow.
It's very similar to hockey, man. Like once you watch it and get into it, like especially when it's your country.
That's what I
like-
was just about to say. I'll get into it because of that. Like,
Well, and then
that's
you-
why I got into this hockey stuff. Like when it was like USA, like you got everybody going.
Yeah.
It'd be the same thing.
And then you just got to understand the
soccer.
pace is going to be different too. Like that was the biggest thing for me is understanding it's not like football where it's just going to be explosive. Like
No, well,
constantly,
we're,
like, it's-
we're baseball fans.
it's
so,
more
like, you understand
strategic. Yeah, that's
sometimes,
true.
you
Yeah, it's more
understand,
like
the
baseball,
grind
yeah.
of the game sometimes.
But the big thing about soccer, though, like it's like that. But then, like when chances like start like coming, like it's intense. Like with the ball, like a shot that
Yeah,
rips a
dude.
shot, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's like the build up is better.
Dude, one of my favorite moments is when John Brooks made that header against Ghana in
Yeah.
2012. We were sitting in your house, and Kyle,
Yeah.
and they beat Ghana in like the 89th minute or something.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the coolest things.
Dude, yeah, it's just intense.
We had our yellow and red card sitting on the table. We're like,
yeah, it was fun.
that was a good time, man. But
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
yeah. But no, I just want. I was going to end off. So just in basketball news, I know we're kind of running, but dude, Greg Popovich. So he had that stroke at the beginning of the year, and they just said he's done for the season for sure, and he might be done altogether. But
I think he's done.
I think he needs to be
He
done
needs to be
because
done.
like my uncle, he's a big time Spurs fan, and we were talking about it, and I was like, I just don't see the benefit at this point.